Hey, listen, have you thought about using Facebook agency ad accounts? Well, in this video, I'm gonna explain why you should or should not use them today in 2024. We'll go over some of the pros, the cons, the benefits, the downsides, so you can make the best decision. And if you are looking for trusted, solid, reputable agency ad account providers, make sure to join my free Discord community where I list the 3 best ones that I've had experiences using and that I personally use in my own business for Facebook advertising. So let's start with the first pro, okay? The fact that you have a relatively direct relationship with Facebook. Well, what do I mean by this? You're able to generate, more or less as many ad accounts as you would like on demand, okay, to an extent. So what are Facebook agency ad accounts? Well, to make it very simple, imagine there was a agency, a traditional advertising agency that has a large amount of spend on their business manager, maybe 5, 10, 50, $20 million a month, and they have a direct high tier relationship with Meta at that point, okay? So that means that they actually have someone that can talk to them, not someone from Facebook chat support who just answers questions like ChatGPT, but an actual human that can do things, okay? Doesn't mean you can whitelist your assets and you can run, legal stuff or things that break policy on Facebook. That's not what this means. But having that direct relationship will provide you with a lot of perks, okay? Now, when it comes to the stability of agency ad accounts, there is a huge difference between Facebook ad accounts, regular ones that you generate yourselves from maybe a business manager you make from your mom's Facebook, or one that you already had, versus the one that's coming from the agency ad account or the agency ad account provider, okay? And that's because the trust factor that comes with their business manager, typically the trust tier, as we'll call it, that they are at, is going to provide the benefit of stability. Now, it doesn't guarantee that ad accounts won't get disabled. And to be honest, as a whole, I'm not really seeing many ad accounts get disabled today in 2024, unless you're outright blatantly breaking Facebook ad policy. Okay, that's just where we're at today. Now, during 2020, late 2020, going into 2023, you would see ad accounts going down for absolutely no reason. Even agency ad accounts is just the difference was regular ad accounts were pretty much insta-banned if they were new. Existing regular ad accounts, you could wake up one day after having spent thousands of dollars per day for months or years and having it disabled without even breaking policy, whereas agency ad accounts just had a lower likelihood of that happening, but it was still possible, just to be very clear on that. But it reduced your risk of having that issue of an ad account going down with no real explanation or reason, okay? So that was a huge plus. Just having the ability to spend and scale is very valuable. Like, my business depends on Meta ads or Facebook ads, okay? And maybe if you're watching this, yours does too. So if there's a day where you're unable to spend money on ads, that's gonna have a direct impact on your ability to generate revenue and profits, right? So that is a huge perk. And also another thing is too, the agency that you choose to work with that issues you the ad account to your business manager is going to be able to give you the support if an ad account does get disabled. Now, not all agencies can do this, but a lot can. They can submit the appeal for you, and it has a higher likelihood of getting recovered from my experience. But knock on wood, thankfully right now, we're not seeing ad accounts go down unless there's a blatant policy violation. And even then, there's no guarantee. Sometimes you could just get away with stuff, right? Another huge perk too, having that direct relationship with Meta will make a difference in other little circumstances. For example, I had an ad account that was reactivated after a few days. I forgot that I had a campaign active when it was initially disabled, that we did not pause when it became active again. It spent probably $1,500. I reached out to the agency. They submitted a refund request within 24 hours. I had a full refund on that charge, which was super cool. Like, you don't get that level of support if you're working directly with Facebook in chat support, okay? And also, the ability, going back to another huge value proposition with agency ad accounts, is that you are able to spend, as relatively speaking, as much as you want per day from day one of having the ad account, right? If you get issued a new ad account from an agency ad account provider, It's going to show up in your business manager. You can add your credit card typically, or make a prepayment if you want to do a credit, right? And then you're able to spend $1,000 a day, $5,000 a day if you want, pretty much out the gate, okay? Whereas if you generate a new business manager or take a older business manager that hasn't been used and you generate the first ad account, well, guess what? You're gonna be stuck at $50 a day until further notice. Sometimes that can take days of spending. Sometimes that can take weeks of spending. There's really no consistent pattern. It just seems like it's whenever Facebook wants to raise that limit, okay? So those are some of the huge pros. Support, the ability to spend and scale, and the ability to spend more or less as much as you want from day one. Now, let's go over the downsides and why you may not want to use agency ad accounts, or maybe you don't want to put the majority of your ad spend on them. The first is going to be the obvious. It comes with a fee. This is either going to be a flat rate monthly fee for general usage, or a percentage of ad spend, maybe 5% for example, or some combination of both, maybe a fixed monthly fee, and then after you spend $50,000, then you have a percentage of every dollar after that that you owe a fee on for usage, okay? And in my experience, often this is worth it, right? I do spend a majority of my money on my regular ad accounts on one of my own BMs that I've worked to build up over the last 2 years, I guess it's been. And thankfully that business manager is able to generate new ad accounts pretty much every week. And also every ad account starts at typically at least $250, but usually $900 a day spend limits or more. And to be honest, I haven't really tested the limits recently with new ad accounts off my business manager, but it's pretty cool because I can plug my credit cards in and I can just launch and spend and scale, and I don't really have to think about extra fees. What I see in the ad account is actually what I'm being charged. Do I still use agency ad accounts? Absolutely. I spend thousands of dollars per day across several providers I personally use and I recommend in my Skool community. Make sure you to join with the link below this video if you haven't already. And that is like I said, that is a huge downside to agency ad accounts. You have a fee, but to be honest, it's like an insurance policy. It's something I'd rather pay, or rather have the option to pay, rather than be dead in the water and not able to advertise and being stuck spending $50 a day, right? So to me, the fee is worth it. The second issue, not so much of an issue today, is not all agency ad account providers are equal, okay? The main agency ad account provider, HCT pool, that everyone or majority of the providers out there were brokering their accounts out and then charging a fee of, is no longer able to offer this. So you're seeing individual agencies that have this option to generate the agency ad account, and you're working typically directly with the agency instead of some kind of broker, which is pretty cool, to be honest, because then you're going directly to the source and you get better support, and you don't have delays in getting new ad accounts and getting answers, or if something goes down and gets banned, you could actually get help with it. One more big downside with agency ad accounts is that in the past this is more common, now it's not as common. A lot of providers prior will require you to wire transfer a top up. Now, there wasn't always, let's say, a risk of someone stealing your money, although I know that has happened and people have not been refunded when ad account providers went out of business. But today you can find all the ones I personally recommend in my Skool community, and all the ones a lot of the ones you'll probably come into contact with today, they allow you the ability to actually add a credit card to the ad account, which is super cool because sure, you get your points, but also it's better for cash flow, especially if you're in the affiliate space where it's a delay on your cash flow. You usually get paid after 1 to 2 weeks, sometimes a little bit longer. And the fact that you're able to add your credit card in there and run up a balance on your American Express and not have to worry about prepaying it is a huge perk. There were days where a majority of the providers would require you to wire $5K or $10K, and then within a few hours or maybe the next day, they would apply that credit of $5K or $10K to your ad account for you to use. That's no longer the case, but some providers do still require this. I just recommend you don't work with them in general if that's the only option they give you, unless you don't care and you don't mind wiring fees in advance, okay? So those are my pros and cons when it comes to agency ad accounts. And obviously, as you've already guessed and I've already pointed out, I'm a big fan of them. I still use them. A majority of my spend is not on agency ad accounts, but that's because I've done the work and I've spent the money building up my own business manager, which you're probably gonna ask, John, how do I do that? Well, the answer is simple. It's gonna take a lot of time and you need to spend a lot of money. That's really all there is to it. I used to put out a lot of content around what to do if you get banned on Facebook. Thankfully, I don't have to do that anymore. Bans are far less common. I think we lost 5 ad accounts in the last 12 months, which is super cool because we're spending usually minimum 5, but usually 10, upwards of $20,000 on a day-to-day basis. So the fact that we're able to do that without really having issues is super cool. And yes, having agency ad accounts as a part of that is very, very important. And it's something I recommend that you do for yourself if you're a serious Facebook advertiser or you're looking to scale your business right away. If you're only in a position where you're spending $50 a day, well, then don't do it. It's just not really the time. This is for people probably looking to spend a couple $100 a day. Then it becomes something that makes tons of sense. So if you haven't already joined my Skool community, it's free. I answer all the questions in there you have about performance marketing, buying Facebook ads, or spending money on Meta as a whole, okay? And I give recommendations into the best providers, the ones I recommend, and I've negotiated some exclusive deals for anyone coming from my community that is interested in working with one of those agencies. So hope that helps. I know a lot of people don't put out information about agency ad account providers. This is the nuts and bolts of how this stuff works and why you should be using it today in 2024. Also, don't forget, if you haven't already and you got some value from this video, I put out a lot of content around Facebook advertising, online performance marketing, and affiliate marketing as a whole. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave a comment below this video or share and like if you got some value as well. Until next time, I'll see you in my Skool community and on the next video.